They never told us why the last unit abandoned OP Rock. No handover briefing, no convoy escort, just a short bark over the radio. Secure the outpost. Coordinates inbound. Airlift in 12. I remember standing on the tarmac at Jalalabad, holding my kit, staring at a barely legible topo map printed on thermal paper. The base name wasn't even official, just Rock. Someone had scribbled it in ink over the contour lines. A jagged formation high in the northeastern ridges near the Korangal Valley. The pilot gave us a weird look when we loaded in. You guys drawing the short straw or what? I asked what he meant. He didn't answer. We were a 9-man recon squad from 2nd Platoon, 173rd Airborne. Hard men, seasoned, rotated through hellholes from Nangarhar to Nuristan. We'd all seen combat. We'd all lost someone. That's why we were sent, because we didn't ask questions. The Black Hawk flight was silent. Below us, green jungle gave way to gray cliffs. The ridgelines looked like the backs of sleeping giants. The higher we flew, the more the world lost color. By the time we touched down, everything was just rock, mist, and the humming static of isolation. OP Rock looked like it had been vomited up by the mountain. 4 tents, one collapsed, a half-built tower, a broken radio mast duct-taped to a pile of rebar, concertina wire wrapped around the whole thing like Christmas lights, sagging, rusted, burn marks along the eastern edge of the perimeter, like something had crawled in and been dragged out. No sign of the last unit, no shell casings, no blood, no gear, just absence. Staff Sergeant Matthews took point immediately, barking orders. Perimeter sweep, then I want eyes up and barrels out. I helped string the new claymores while Reyes laid down fresh tripwires. Daniels, our radio guy, set up a short-range repeater and ran diagnostics. Static. Full bars, but no return signal from any other FOBs. That was normal sometimes, but his face said otherwise. Shouldn't we have signal from Keating at least? I asked. Daniels didn't look up. Keating's gone, he muttered. What? Just gone? I thought he was joking. He wasn't. The weird shit started that night. We took shifts. Fire watch in 3-hour blocks. I drew 0200 hours to 0500 hours with Daniels. The moon was low, barely more than a smear through the cloud cover, but the NVGs lit the world in sickly green. About 20 minutes in, I saw movement near the rocks south of the OP. A shape. Humanoid, but low to the ground. Not crawling, skimming. Got eyes, I whispered. South Ridge, 70 meters. Movement. Daniels turned his scope. Where? Between the split rocks. I don't see. Wait, yeah. What the fuck? The thing stopped, then tilted its head, slowly, unnaturally, like a dog trying to mimic a person. It stayed there for maybe 5 seconds, then it backed into the darkness. No footfalls, no scuffling of gravel, just gone. Taliban? I asked. Daniels shook his head. No rifle, no heat signature. That's when I noticed the silence. We'd been here long enough to get used to the usual background noise, distant pops from other engagements, insects, wind, radio hiss. Now, nothing. Even our radios had gone quiet. Not static, just off. Rebooting, Daniels said. Signals dead. The night dragged on. I kept my finger on the trigger, rifle trained at the rocks, but the thing never came back. Or maybe it had, and we just didn't see it. In the morning, Reyes found something near the edge of the Claymore line. A smear, like someone had taken a wet cloth and wiped the dust into a pattern. Circles, overlapping, almost script-like. He called us over. "You see this?" "Probably the wind," someone said. "No, this was drawn. It's deliberate." Reyes stared down at the marks for a long time. Then he rubbed them out with his boot. That afternoon, Daniel started asking questions, not about the rock, about the last unit. "Why'd they leave no sign?" he asked me when we were on latrine duty. No garbage, no rations, not even burn pits. Maybe they packed light. Bullshit. I didn't have an answer. That night, Reyes disappeared. He'd taken watch from 2300 hours to 0200 hours. I relieved him at 0200 hours, but when I climbed the tower, he wasn't there. His rifle was, his helmet too, but not him. We scrambled the squad. Matthews lit up the valley with flares. Nothing. Not a track. Not a drag trail. Not a fucking sound. It was like the mountain swallowed him. We stayed up till dawn, running circles, checking for thermal traces. Eventually, Matthews called it. "We'll search at first light. Stay sharp. This place just got hot." When the sun came up, we went looking again. We found something, not Reyes, but down by the rocks, right where we'd seen that shape the night before. We found his name, carved into the stone. Reyes, in all caps, like someone had etched it with a nail. But the weird part, the edges of the carving weren't rough. They were smooth, polished, like they'd been there for years. No one spoke after that. Even Matthews stopped barking orders. We took shifts again that night, but no one slept. We just sat there in the dirt, watching shadows. Daniels pulled me aside around 300 hours. His eyes were bloodshot. His voice was shaking. "I've been hearing something on the open band," he said. "It's not from our radios. It's below the 30 megahertz range, ultra low." "What kind of transmission?" He swallowed. "It's us." "What?" "Our voices, snippets of conversation, stuff we said earlier in the day." He turned the dial on the radio and handed me the earpiece. I listened, and I swear to God, I heard my own voice, whispering something I hadn't even realized I said. Not a recording, not playback. Something was repeating us. We didn't report it. We didn't call for extraction. There was a feeling, like if we acknowledged it, it would get worse. So we did what soldiers always do. We waited, and that's when Daniel said it. Just out of nowhere, while staring at the tree line. "It's not the mountain that's haunted." I asked what he meant. He turned to me, pale, and said, "It's whatever they left buried in it." Reyes never came back. After 3 days, we stopped pretending he might. Matthews wrote up the report. Presumed captured, possible KIA, but no one really believed that. Captured would have meant a struggle, blood, drag marks, something. We had nothing. Command never responded to our situation report. The radio, when it worked, would cut in and out like it had a will of its own. Daniels could reach Keating for a few seconds at a time, but every time he tried to transmit, the frequency would be hijacked by that same damn thing. Our voices, replayed, reversed, slurred together like a language not meant for human throats. By day, we patrolled the perimeter and tried to keep sharp. By night, we barely spoke. No cards, no jokes, just silence. The worst part? We kept losing gear. One night, an entire crate of 5.56 ammo vanished. Next morning, 2 NVGs were gone. Not stolen, not misplaced, gone. Matthews ordered a full sweep of every tent and rucksack. No one argued, but we all knew there was something else inside the wire. And Daniels was unraveling. At 0100 hours on the 5th day, I found him crouched in the corner of the comms tent, flashlight off, staring at the turned-off radio like it might speak to him. "It's saying new things," he whispered, not looking at me. "The recordings?" "No, not recordings anymore." He finally turned. It said my name, in Reyes's voice. I didn't know what to say, so I sat with him. We both listened, and sure as shit, between the waves of static, I heard Reyes whisper, "You shouldn't have buried it." We hadn't buried anything. That night, Daniels refused to go on watch. Matthews ordered him up Tower 2. Daniels said nothing, just stared. So Matthews grabbed him by the collar and dragged him out into the cold. I tried to stop him. "He's cracked, Sarge." "We've all cracked," Matthews snapped, "but we still pull weight." Daniels was in Tower 2 by 2300 hours. By 0200 hours, he was gone, just like Reyes. I took over the tower at 0300 hours, found his gear, rifles still loaded, NVGs left on the ledge and pointing down at the rocks, still on, battery half drained. I picked them up, pressed them to my eyes, and saw him, Daniels, standing at the edge of the woods, naked, arms at his sides, head cocked. I froze. He was facing me, but the NVGs flickered and glitched. His eyes were wrong, too wide, and there was something behind him, in the trees, a shape, looming, breathing. Then Daniels grinned. It wasn't human. That mouth stretched too far, teeth too uniform. Like it had studied how to smile but had never practiced on flesh. I blinked. They were both gone. I woke the camp screaming. Matthews radioed in a full alert. Trip flares were checked, claymores armed, M240s manned. We stayed in position until dawn. That morning we found what looked like Daniel's dog tags tied to a branch, but the metal was twisted, warped into a spiral. Unnatural. That's when Matthews called for evacuation. "Birds coming in 12 hours, he said. We were done pretending this was salvageable. Whatever OP rock was, It wasn't a position. It was bait, and we were the test subjects. We started packing up immediately. Then we heard the voice, Reyes, over the comms, crystal clear, no static. "Hey guys," it said. "It's okay now. I found Daniels. Come on down to the rocks. We're waiting." None of us moved. The radio went dead again, followed by a long, low scraping noise, metal on stone, coming from somewhere behind the comms tent. Foster went to check. He never came back. We found his boots, just the boots, laces still tied, and beneath them, pressed into the dirt, a perfectly symmetrical symbol, circle, triangles, radiating spirals, no footprints, no drag marks, just that. The sun was sinking. Our evac was coming. We didn't know if it would even land. Matthews ordered us to hunker down inside the HESCO barriers. Final stand if it came to that. At 0100 hours, we heard footsteps, multiple, slow, deliberate, crunching over the gravel. I peeked over the edge of the barrier. Daniels was back. So was Foster. So was Reyes. Only not. Their skin was gray, wrong, like wet paper stretched too tight, eyes glassy and unfocused. They didn't blink. They didn't speak. They just stared. Then something else stepped into view behind them. It was tall, 7 feet, maybe more, covered in ragged folds of something like burlap and flesh. Its face was hidden by a mask, or maybe it was a mask. Bone white, no mouth, no eyes, just antlers, antlers that dripped, and behind it the forest bent forward, like it was watching. I couldn't move, couldn't speak. It reached one long hand out and touched Reyes on the back. And suddenly, Reyes screamed, not in pain, but like someone waking up from a nightmare, and collapsed. Then Foster, then Daniels. The thing turned, antlers scraping bark as it moved, and walked back into the trees, disappeared, gone. Just like that, we rushed out, dragged the bodies back, but they weren't dead. Their pulses were strong. Their skin was warm. Their voices returned hours later, but they remembered nothing. Nothing, just darkness. Matthew sat alone in the dirt, staring at the woods for a long time before he said, "It's not Reyes. It's not Foster. It's not Daniels. We didn't argue. We didn't sleep. And we didn't speak again until the Black Hawk arrived the next morning." They didn't let us fly out of Afghanistan. We were supposed to go straight from OP Rock to Bagram, then on to Germany for psych eval and debrief. That was standard after any black level recon op. But we didn't go to Germany. We went underground. The airstrip they brought us to wasn't on any map. No signage, no uniforms, just men in clean, featureless gear with no name tags and mirrored sunglasses. They separated us the moment we landed, me, Matthews, and the others, each of us in a private room with nothing but a metal chair, a clipboard, and a camera. No clocks, no windows, just fluorescent light humming like it was alive. They didn't ask what we saw. They asked what we thought we saw. There's a difference. Every word I said, They countered, explained, refuted. Altitude sickness, group hallucination, stress fractures from prolonged isolation. At one point, I snapped and yelled, "Explain the dog tags, the voices, the fucking thing." The man across from me didn't blink. "You were never at OP Rock." That's when I knew what this was. Not a debrief, a rewrite. They weren't interested in the truth. They were interested in burying it. We were released 2 weeks later, reassigned, scattered. Matthews disappeared entirely. Foster got sent stateside on medical. Reyes, Daniels, they didn't make it back to active duty. I wasn't told where they went. All I got was a commendation I didn't earn and a gag order I never signed. I didn't talk for years, didn't write it down, didn't speak it out loud, because there's a kind of fear that gets under your skin, deep in the bone, and never leaves. But last month, something happened. I was at a VA hospital in Oregon, routine physical, nothing big. But when I checked in, the nurse glanced at my file and froze. Her voice dropped. "Were you 2nd platoon?" I nodded. She looked around, then leaned in. My brother was at a fire base in 2012. They called it Outpost Ash, up in the northeast ridges. They abandoned it after 6 days. Same story, disappearances, radio problems, people coming back wrong. I didn't respond. Couldn't. She slid me a paper towel. On it, she'd scribbled a word in blue pen. "Carcosa?" I asked what it meant. She just shook her head and said, "That's what he kept saying, over and over." That night, I had a dream. I was back at OP Rock, standing at the edge of the perimeter. The fog was thicker now. The trees bent toward me like they were listening. And from the darkness, it stepped out again. Same height, same mask, same rotted antlers, dripping something black onto the earth. But this time, it had my face in its hand, not a photo. My face. And it whispered, "You left, but you never left." I woke up screaming, sweating, and not alone. There were footprints on the carpet, muddy, bare, leading from the window to the edge of my bed. I live on the 3rd floor. Here's what I know now. OP Rock wasn't the only one. I've seen the documents, leaked manifests, black site coordinates, airstrips that don't exist. There are dozens of places like it, not just in Afghanistan. Korea, Alaska, parts of South America, deep in the Arctic, places the military quietly gives back to the dark. And every so often, a unit like mine gets sent in, not to fight, to feed it. If you're reading this, if this somehow gets through the filters, don't go looking for OP Rock. Don't search the satellite maps. Don't try to find us in old rosters or declassified mission logs, because we're not in them. We were erased, stripped out of the files like we never existed, but that place remembers us. And sometimes, when I close my eyes and listen hard enough, I can still hear the trees bending. I can still hear it breathing. And I know it's still wearing my face. If you're still breathing, go ahead and like the video. Subscribe if you dare. There are plenty more nightmares waiting for you. And whatever you do, don't forget to ring the bell. It's the only way you'll hear the warnings in time.